Welcome to the Lowestoft Town Council Planning Committee. In the event of a fire, please follow instructions and directions to the fire exits and make your way to the assembly point adjacent to the Quick Fit building. In the interest of openness and transparency, the law permits recording and photography to report on the proceedings of council meetings when they are open to the public. No flash photography or additional lighting should be used without prior consent. Anyone wishing to report on the meeting or anyone not wishing to be filmed or photographed should notify the clerk or chair. The meeting will be live streamed on YouTube. Therefore, please remember to speak clearly and use your microphone, remembering to switch it off when you have finished. As the chair of the meeting, I have the discretion to suspend or terminate the live streaming if, in my opinion, continuing to do so would prejudice the proceedings of the meeting. Improper conduct or disruptive behaviour will not be tolerated. Please raise your hand to indicate you wish to speak and wait for me to call upon you. As chair of the meeting, I will determine the order in which members will be invited to speak. To ensure the efficiency of the meeting, no member may speak for more than 3 minutes on one item or more than once. Therefore, please make your points as concisely as possible. Please may I also remind you to be polite and respectful towards one another at all times. Please put your phones on silent mode and put phones away for the duration of the meeting and adhere to the no smoking policy of this building and its grounds. I will never get used to that. Eventually. Right, we have here tonight councillors Christian Newsom, John Murray, Elise Youngman, Naseema Begum as ex officio. Is that what we're saying? Yeah. And myself, Jen Jones. Right. 48. To receive and consider approval of apologies for absence.
Yes, Chair. Apologies received from councillors Brooks and Rappersberger with reasons provided.
Elise?
Is to accept.
Seconder? John? A vote in favour? Is everyone, I think? John, are you voting?
Yes.
Come on, you need to get out of holiday mode now. 49, declarations of interest and dispensations. 49.1, to receive declarations of disclosable pecuniary, other registrable and non-registrable interests from councillors on items on the agenda. Christian?
So I've got a couple. So the first one, I think we've got a group interest in 2521 application.
Yeah.
Marina, and for my own personal one, on consultation 55, sorry. I've got two historical vehicles stored on said land that's mentioned.
So will you be leaving the room for that one?
Yeah, if you want to discuss anything, yeah.
Anyone else? No? 49.2, to consider written requests for dispensations for interest and note dispensations granted.
None received, Chair.
Thank you. 50, to consider the draft minutes of the meeting on 10th of July. That was over a month ago. Elise?
Opposed to accept.
Seconder? Christian? And a vote? Everyone? 51, public forum. An opportunity for the public to make comments on any matters on this agenda and to consider any advance comments from the public. Well, there's no one here in person.
No one's on the webinar, but we did receive, it was circulated earlier this week, we received a comment from a member of the public regarding application 252517, 43 St John's Road. So that was circulated to committee members.
Oh, good. Well, deal with that one when we get to it then. 52, planning applications. 52.1, to consider the following planning applications and decide the recommendation of the council. 2800, 225 Yarmouth Road, single storey extension of existing outbuilding and use as granny annex. Any comments? Any proposals? Elise?
I propose to accept. Most of them houses down there have got bits added onto them anyway.
Okay. Any other comment, John? Okay, thank you. And a vote? That's everyone. 2891 12 Hillcrest Gardens, rear extension, garage extension and conversion. Any comments? Very quiet room tonight. Elise?
There's not very many documents to go with this one, is there?
No.
But it looks okay, so I propose to accept.
Okay. Any other comments or a seconder? John? And a vote? That's everyone. 2892 20 Windermere Park, partial loft conversion and dormer. John? Don't use your microphone.
Suppose we approve it.
Okay. Elise? Okay. And a vote? It's everyone. 2521, the Marina Theatre, illuminated advertisement consent. I'm not going to read all of this out. Have you got it?
I believe it was the architect on the project who submitted this,
Okay.
noting that from what's been received so far in terms of highways, environmental protection and the street lighting engineer, they all seem to concur that they just want further information on, I believe it was luminance levels.
Okay.
So
Yeah, they put Holden.
I mean, if
I meant have they.
they've just requested further
Okay.
information.
John.
Just, I guess it's a question based on what Christian said, because we've all collectively got an interest in it. What is there a format, structure, something we should do or not do?
No, we've had it before where we've had our own assets on for planning applications. We had it with the Triangle Market just a month ago. You know, we declare that it's our asset and it's owned by us, but it's just going through the regular planning, and we just note that it's obviously our asset.
Elise.
Well, there's highways and that want more information. Should we wait until that's happened and then leave it till the next one? So, like you said, put holding on to it.
I think in terms, for the most part, the consultees were happy enough with it. But yeah, if you want to put, maybe not a hold an objection per se, but that you'd like to await the further information requested by the consultees, or if having reviewed the application you feel it's sound enough on its own to recommend approval subject to anything that they put through as a condition.
I worry if I turn this one off whether it's going to.
I did get a message saying that the town hall project.
There
we go.
So we'll propose to approve it then, subject to the outcome of whatever highways wants.
Okay. And a seconder, Christian, and a vote. That's everyone. 2608 East Coast College, Rotterdam Road. You don't work there no more, do you? No. Okay. Creation of 6 metre by 12 metre concrete slab and erection of temporary industrial tent-like tarpaulin structure to provide an overflow bricklaying workshop as an educational space. John.
It says that it's a concrete slab, which I don't have no doubt that it is, and they want to put something temporary on it.
Yeah.
Then what? What happens? I mean, then presumably after they've finished it, they take the temporary bit away and they're left with a concrete slab. I thought it was creation of a concrete slab.
That's not a lie.
Yeah. But no objection to it. I just wondered what that's a concrete slab. They're going to put something temporary, but if it's surrounded by other concrete slabs, it'll feel quite at home, won't it?
And no, I think if it's going to benefit the students there in the long run, Sorry, Christian.
It's all right. I was just going to propose approval. It's obviously needed to create a demand. So
A seconder, Elise. And a vote. Is everyone? Oh. 2920, 5 Battery Green Road. Oh, another variation one. Variation of condition 3 of a previous application 2166. Change of use from Class E offices to sui generis to allow for an 8-bed HMO. No significant external changes will be made as part of the proposed works. The applicant wishes for the condition to be changed due to the specific tenant type being too restrictive on the potential use of the HMO. Fastest hand first. John?
So, sorry, were you?
No, I was literally scratching my.
Oh, sorry, sorry. The objections to it sort of are quite lucid and structured and seem to make a lot of sense, in that the point is that it was approved for student accommodation, specifically that, and the exceptional circumstances ruling seems to have been changed, which is the supposed loophole under which the owner proposer is trying to work. But then the objections are saying that vulnerable people is a very generic term and that the whole thing should be more specific. And then the objections say, you know, the anticipated or the potential residents of the property are then not appropriate to the area. But without knowing who the residents are going to be, it's a bit of a chicken and egg type situation. But I think that there are still questions about.
Your mic's not on.
Oh, it keeps going off. There are questions as to who these vulnerable people might be. It's a bit of a vague, as the various objections say, it's a bit vague. So my thoughts are that it might be, knowing the approach of East Suffolk Council and to HMOs, it might not be unreasonable to ask for further clarification on who the residents are going to be, more detail. Would be increased.
Your mic's gone off again.
What facilities would be provided to support those vulnerable people and conversely the community over and above the facilities that would have been appropriate had it been used for students?
Yeah.
I know students can get rowdy, but in the world we live in, there are concerns which arguably might be addressed if there was more known about who these vulnerable people be, some form of holding position for that reason.
So is that going to be a proposal?
Yes.
Okay.
A wordy proposal it was. Yes. Yeah. Well, I know Nazima wants to come in, but I'm very happy for that. But I would propose a holding objection until further clarification is received on what form vulnerable people, what that means.
You've gone off again.
And what facilities would be anticipated that to support them and the community.
Okay. Nazima.
I would make a counter proposal and I would say that we should approve, because I know that student accommodation is seriously lacking in Lowestoft. We have a huge college that has students, both international and national. They struggle for places to live. They can't live in shared accommodation because they're not HMOs. HMO regulations are extremely strict. It doesn't matter if, you know, what you've said about what facilities are going to be put in there and all that stuff. That will all be covered under HMO regulations.
Nazima, your mic's gone off.
I just think No offense. I think it's a silly reason to say to have an objection at this point without knowing what the facilities are going to be, because they're good. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah.
Can I just back, because I think there's a misunderstanding. One of us is misunderstanding, because my understanding is that the previous approval was for use as student accommodation. This is to get rid of that, not for students, and make it available to vulnerable people. So it's not for student accommodation. I agree with you about student accommodation.
Yeah, so this is a variation of condition application. So on a previous application, this HMO was approved, but condition 3 stipulated they can only use it to house students. The applicant is requesting a variation of that condition to remove the stipulation for students, and they want to broaden the term to be vulnerable people.
I still wouldn't object. So my proposal still stands that we approve.
Okay, right. We'll take John's one first. Is there a seconder for John's proposal? Question. Okay. Is there a seconder for?
You have to take a vote on the first one.
Okay. Right, can we get a vote on that one then, please? 2. It's 3. It's carried anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2949 48 Royal Avenue, insertion of 2 Velux reflights to facilitate loft conversion. Any comments, Elise?
Opposed to accept.
And a seconder? Nasima was just in there. And a vote? It's everyone. 2517 43 St John's Road, extension of detached property to form 3-storey dwelling. Please, Nasima, sorry.
It's not working, sorry. Propose to approve.
Okay, John? Just shout.
It seems that Nazima and myself are going to be on opposite sides of the argument tonight. This one has got a number of objections to it, and a lot of them indicate the planning approvals that they believe are contravened and are broken, and I think they are sound arguments. One of them, that without going on too long and breaching my 3-minute rule and all that jazz, or your 3-minute rule and all that, there's reference in the objections to the risk of flooding. And there's a flood risk assessment in there, which under some foreseeable circumstances puts flooding at that property at over 4 meters. If I've read it correctly, which I think I have. And it's an extreme case, but extreme flooding does take place. And the policy, I'll have you know, WLP 8.24, flood risk, said development proposals should consider flooding from all sources and take into account climate change. Proposals at risk of flooding should only be granted planning permission if it can be demonstrated that there are no available sites suitable for the proposed use in an area with a lower probability of flooding. The development provides sustainability benefits which outweigh flood risk, and a site-specific flood risk assessment has been submitted, which demonstrates that the flood risk can be satisfactorily mitigated over the lifetime of the development. I've read what I can of that today, and I don't see certainly those 2 second points being addressed at all. So I think it's in breach of the policy, and we've been advised to couch our responses in terms of their relationship to existing policies. Hence, I would propose we do not accept it and oppose it.
Okay, thank you. So that's 2 proposals again. Elise. Right.
I'm going to go with, I'll second John's because it's overdevelopment and everything on there. I read it all in quite good detail before I came in.
Okay. what do we do about Seema's proposal?
Because John was seconded, you take the vote on it.
Okay. I've not been in this position that often.
Well, this question wants a second seamless,
Oh.
but then it'll be 2-2.
True.
Oh no, you'll have to pass it.
I don't like that.
It's all right, I'll leave you out there later, Don.
Okay, well, proposal seconder, can we get a vote on that then, please? That's 4.
I'm gonna go again. No, you're fine. I shouldn't be on planning, should I?
Yeah, just as a note, we had 3 in favour on the 5 Battery Green, but yourself and Councillor Bacon didn't actually cast any votes. We would need you to cast some kind of vote.
The HMO one.
The variation of condition, were you against?
So I would be against, I was against John's proposal.
Oh, I was abstaining. I completely forgot about that
As did I.
bit. Oh, right, where were we? 2751. 312 London Road South, certificate of lawful use existing. 5 self-contained C3 dwelling houses as shown on the plan submitted.
I'll open this one, so I haven't got any information on that.
No.
Yeah, this was coming up for me as well.
Just says unable to perform tasks.
So 7-5.
There's some, I think there might be some gremlins in the works tonight somewhere.
Isn't it always?
Which is why I did some preparatory notes on it, so
Okay.
it works.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it.
It does happen sometimes on the planning portal.
Especially when
Usually end of the week is when they'll be doing updates.
Yeah.
so.
If we can't see it, if we have not been able to
Mm,
do it, maybe we should defer it.
agree.
we won't.
It's probably insignificant, but it's probably not a big deal.
Oh, here we go. 4 documents, that's all. They're applying for a certificate of lawful use existing. So it's to confirm that the existing use of land is lawful for planning purposes under the Town and Country Planning Act. So they want to ascertain if the use of existing buildings or land is lawful. This will be the certificate that allows them to do so. On their application form, they're stating that it's on the grounds of the building in question being used for more than 10 years before the date of the application. And then they've provided evidence with proof of council tax banding and further evidence reports. Yeah, Councillor Young, I'm waiting to come in.
Sorry, Elise.
So I just proposed to accept if they've been there 10 years already. There's no problem with that.
Seconder.
Doesn't matter. Either or.
Oh, it's been a very weird night.
It's cool for a vote.
A vote. Everyone.
It's because I'm in a good mood.
Yeah, unusually. 2762 4 Sunningdale Avenue, 2-story rear extension. Azima.
I'm scared to say anything now, John. I propose to approve.
Elise. And a vote. Yay! Planning often goes like this, in case you wondered.
Start to come more often. It can be quite fun sometimes.
We are always looking for new people. 6A Stradbroke Road, certificate of lawful use existing. Existing use is a hot food takeaway and has been for some time. We'd like a certificate of lawfulness to confirm this. This use was under Class A, but since 2020 was under the sui generis planning class. Elise.
Propose approval.
Just have a question. How have they been running it as a hot food takeaway without the certificate, or is that?
They already had it, I think.
I know it says they'd like a certificate.
It's a bit like retrospective.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of certificates of lawful use.
It kind of
It's a
implies
kind of-
that it's already.
Yeah, the whole reason for applying for it is to demonstrate that the use of the land or the structure on the land has existed continuously. So therefore it's become lawful and it's immune from enforcement action, or it doesn't require any planning commission because it's not a development or it's under permitted development. So it's a kind of form of retrospective because it's gaining a certificate to say that because the building has been there for this length of time, it's under like permitted development rights essentially.
No, I'm talking about the hot food takeaway.
Yeah. Yeah, for them it will be certificate of lawful use of the land rather than a specific development.
John?
I would second the point that Elise is making, but I've also got her approval proposal, but I've got a question about that because so I've got access to a piece of land and I build whatever on it, and I manage to, for whatever reason, nobody objects, no council person comes along. So after 10 years, I can say, well, I've been running this knocking shop for 10 years.
It's not a way around per se because it's an embedded part of the system. You know, it's the 1990 Town and Country Planning Act sort of enshrined it. So it's kind of underneath the permitted development rights.
Question?
We'll be able to hear you through these ones. I'll have Michael have a look at the microphones when he returns.
I assume this has been a hot food takeaway for a long time. I assume, I don't know, but the situation with the date of 2020, is it something to do with something which was granted during COVID times, which allowed them to still operate in business, and that's why it was granted? But this is, as I say, it's been a hot food takeaway for year dot for as long as I can remember. So
It's here that they ticked that the use began more than 10 years before the date of this application. I think the reference to 2020 is that the it was under the Class A categorisation, but since 2020 was then put into the sui generis planning class. Yeah.
So we've had a proposal, we've had a seconder. Can we get a vote? That's everyone. 2810 St Margaret's Church, Hollingsworth Road. Replacement of timber fence within the grounds of a Grade 1 listed building. Elise?
Well, I say approve because, like I said, yay, at last. That's been falling down for years.
Agreed. Nasima?
Second, I've seen the comments by the experts and they all seem to agree. So the heritage people, Suffolk County Council, East Suffolk Council, so
It needs to be done. It's literally falling on up.
Yeah. Okay, so a vote then, please. That's everyone. 52.2 application for tree works. To note that the planning authority has received the following applications for works for trees subject to a tree preservation order and or proposed works to trees within a conservation area and comment as appropriate. So there is only one, 3051 44 Corton Road. Does anyone want to make any comments on that one? No. Okay. 52.3 applications for window repair / replacement. To note that the planning authority has received the following applications for repair or replacement windows within a conservation area, and this will be assessed in line with the East Suffolk Council's Historic Environment Supplementary Planning document. 0072 South Beach B&B 43 Kirkley Cliff Road. Only noting that. 52.4 to note that the following recommendations made under delegated authority when the planning committee did not meet on the 24th of July.
Yes, just say on that one I had 5 responses, so we had a core response to submit. There was just one, 2210 16 Cliftonville Road. We couldn't submit a consultee responses. By the time we got the forward number, it expired and been removed.
Yeah, I did notice that when I was
yeah. That all went through.
53 to receive a report from Councillor Brooks on the East Suffolk Town and Parish Planning Forum.
I also attended, but yeah, she's.
I know she's not here.
She didn't send anything to me yet. We have received from East Suffolk the slides that we used during the forum, so I'll send those around to all members and we can defer this to
the next agenda.
The next one. But it was a very positive meeting. They went over quite a few different areas. A big focus was on tree applications, and there was a lot of discussion around the local plan as well, and what they'll be planning to do about its revision in the next few years. And
did you have to do the little group work stuff?
No.
We should have gone this year instead of last year then. Right, okay. 54, the typo here. To consider responses for the following consultations. 54.1 East Suffolk Council consultation on community involvement in developing planning policy from East Suffolk. Was this on the back of the planning forum?
No, this was actually sent out in advance, but because of all the developments that will be happening, they wanted to get a consultation out on getting community thought on how they want to be involved in the development.
Just a deadline.
So 3rd of September. The questionnaire itself, it's not extensive, but if members would prefer, we can defer this to the August meeting.
That's what I was thinking, just because
the late August meeting, I should say.
Just because not everyone's here tonight.
Yeah.
Go on, John.
I appreciate that decision, and that's yours to make. I'm going to be at a wedding at the next time. I'd just like to make Ben's getting married. I'm going to be there. Can we make some comments now that can be taken forward to then?
Yeah, you can feel free to make comments now, and then if you have any further comments, just send them to me and I'll put them up for the committee to review.
The first point is that it says they could all be used at different times because things again, but they could all be used at different times. So that would be my point, rather than to rule any of them out. But then there's another one further down that I would like to make a comment. He says, how do you think we could encourage more people to participate in planning policy consultations? Well, whether it's that question or not, I think that's an extremely important point. How do you get people involved in planning? We, as a town council, as a statutory consultee, have been told that often our responses haven't been formulated correctly and therefore don't capture the way that we would want to express ourselves. Now, if the member of the public is doing, if we've been on training and we're still getting it wrong, the average person in the street is probably, in many cases, even less informed about the rules and the structure of how they should make comments than we are. So a suggestion that I've got is that whatever method they use to collect public views, that they develop a version or use a version of AI, which we're all threatened with now, AI to capture written or verbal comments and match those against the policies, the planning policies that they would apply to. So if somebody says, I don't like this because or I think that is a good idea because, or have you thought of this? Then AI, I believe, could have the capacity to convert those comments into align them into policies that the planning applications could then consider, because otherwise the public will be in as much disadvantage as we are or have been in the past, when we just to some extent said we don't really like this, which doesn't actually carry much weight in a planning application. So my suggestion is that in that somehow the proposal is that they use AI to interpret and convert comments and statements and input from the public into relevant planning policy units. Good luck with that, Taylor.
Okay, anyone else?
I mean, I don't know much about AI, but my initial thought after hearing what you said is, say I make a comment and then the AI does its thing, but then it doesn't actually capture what I commented. Or it converts it to something that I didn't actually want it to.
Yeah, I'm proposing that it's looked at, the possibility, because I think if people just make comments, how are they going to be handled? Whereas if they can be put into some structure by technology, I think it could be looked at. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect or even it would work, but it occurred to me in reading this document that they've put out, they're seeking how they can improve the planning process. And I just thought that might be one element.
I have no objections to it. I just don't know enough about it. But you said that the reason for this is because when we as a consultee have submitted something and it's just not been done the right way, they haven't accepted it. But I would have thought that the consultee responses would be treated differently to public comments anyway. So say a member of public wrote in something, they wouldn't just reject it just because it's not the correct format.
I can come back on that. Basically, what John was saying was on the back of some recent planning training we did. And the trainer was actually really positive about us as a committee. But one of the things he mentioned was when we did do, recommend refusals, we didn't always align it to which part of the Waveney local plan. So, for example, 8.4, which is plus saturation zone, things like that. So on the whole, we're doing it okay. If it's just small things,
but that's my point, that a consultee's comments would be treated differently to a public comment. I don't think they would reject it just because of, like, they wouldn't expect the public to what you just said, know all of that. They wouldn't. So, but I guess that's where your AI bit comes in, that the AI bit could take that public comment and align it with the, yeah, I see.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of feeding into where it says in the consultation, in terms of encouraging, it could relate to accessibility and inclusivity. So what Councillor Murray said can kind of work into that.
Yes.
Then it would encourage members of the public to know that they can express themselves and know that then there'll be a way for planning to be able to look at it and say, what they have said, according to the AI module that's just run, it's relating to this policy in particular. So we know that that's what they're drawing attention to. Yeah, I've made a note of that, and we'll have that on brought to the committee, and we'll have it as part of the response on that question.
Fantastic. Okay, 54.2, Broads Authority, local plan for the Broad. Is there an expiration date on that one?
I believe it's the 26th of September.
Yeah, it's at the top.
26th of September.
So again, that is another one that we could potentially roll over.
It's a bit of a heavier document, so I think members would likely appreciate a bit more reading time on it.
Yeah, okay.
So that was on the meeting paper that went out, and I can always circulate this again for members. Yeah.
Yeah.
When the consultation is.
If that does look quite heavy, so we'll take your lead on putting it on the agenda. Okay. 55, to note the new guidance published on the redevelopment of the Kirkby Waterfront. Does anyone want to make any comments on this at all? Otherwise, hold on. If you want to make comments, he needs to leave.
Well, it is, if I may, then it's interesting that it points out that a lot of the planned domestic and industrial development is problematic because of the cost of making it a viable thing. It's difficult to make it viable, in large part because of the flooding risk, the flood risk. And in the various documents that surround it, it talks about the Lowestoft flood defence will mitigate this, and it's under development and should be in place by 2021. So I think the failure of the Waveney local plan adopted in 2019 to be updated to reflect the failure of that plan that it refers to be completed further adds the problems that this document that we're looking at now identifies, and shows that the Kirkley waterfront plan is itself built on dodgy foundations.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments to make on this? No. Okay. Do you want to let Christian back in the room?
We need a little light out there. You turn it red when you can't come in and turn it green when you can come in.
Maybe they'll fit that in the town hall.
Yeah,
Two reds.
and 2 reds. Yeah, 2 reds, you're out for good.
Right. 56. To consider the following requests for double yellow lines from members of the public. 56.1, double yellow lines on the junction of the Croft and Norwich Road, NR322BQ, for Nasima's benefit. Anyone that wants to apply for double yellows, they have to have our support to take to county council.
Yeah, so we have no jurisdiction in this area, but often when a member of public wants to approach highways to request double yellow lines to be considered for a specific area, they need to have their town or parish council. We often give written support for their request. So this one, I'm requesting it because people are parking on the corner and on the path, and they account to several near misses having happened, and they worry that an accident may soon arise from the situation. So theirs is a health and safety concern for this one.
Question, did you have your hand up? Right, okay. Elise.
Those.
Louise. Second bit for that. Nasima. And a vote. Is everyone? 56.2, double yellow lines outside property on Westwood Avenue, NR339RS. See, I'm waiting to come in. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this one's opposite. I know where they want it. Because it's just up where my mum lives. But you aren't going to stop the cars or the lorries, even if you put yellow lines. It's where they all park for the school run. The lorry will sit there until they can pull in to deliver at the co-op. So even if you put yellow lines there, it's not going to stop anybody.
Even if it doesn't, I mean, if there's a parking attendant around there, they'll get a parking fine. So,
Well, they would, but
got, we're paying a lot of parking fines.
Just reading that bit. John?
Yeah, it talks about outside the property as well. I mean, is it just, if you have a little bit of yellow lines, it looks and seems a bit weird. I think the answer is to have more people employed to enforce existing parking, because you're not meant to obstruct the roads and all that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So I think wandering around with a can of yellow paint's not the answer.
They've all got drives down there as well, so
Yeah.
they weren't actually parked on the road.
No.
But I don't think they'll stop the vans and lorries, that's all.
Well, we need Jacina.
I can't think where it is, because I haven't got any information on it.
It's, you know,
I know the road. I'm just saying, where do they want the yellow line specifically?
In their letter, they just specified, and obviously redacted it because it was their address, but they wanted it outside their house.
and you can't just have ones a little bit like that, just to,
And you can't put yellow lines all the way up there, because they're visitors, they do, if anything, that probably end up being permanent.
So why do they want yellow lines there to stop?
They reported that they've had some people parking in a way that kind of obstructs their entrance onto their own drive. And they've expressed frustration that people use it to go to the co-op that's nearby.
It's a public road.
It has its own car park.
yeah, certainly. And then, and the size of a lorry is pretty limited on where it can safely go.
Yeah, looking at the map, it's one of those residential roads, but there's no yellow line on it, so people will use it to park somewhere. As Councillor Youngman said, there's the school run that happens nearby, and that will have it. So
They don't really usually clogged up with cars apart from the school run. And then they haven't gone within 20 minutes. But it does state in the highways code you can park the car wherever there's no yellow lines.
Yeah.
Nobody actually owns that bit outside their house, even though we all like to park outside our own houses.
Yeah. Okay, so we do need a proposal as to whether we are going to support or not support.
yeah, I would just say if we don't give our support, it doesn't mean they can't still approach highways, and highways will still consider their request. They just won't have written support from the town council. But if it's if the committee is minded to not provide support, just a short explanation of why, because that needs to be provided back to the public.
Not at all.
But they had wrote a letter and sent it in.
It would be rude not to. Why?
I personally don't have any objections to it. If they want it, they want it, and it will be down to highways to see if that is actually feasible or not. So I would propose that we support it, because it doesn't affect anyone, and if it's something that's bothering them, ultimately it won't be us. Exactly. So I just think as a town council we should support our residents.
Question.
I'll second. Seems.
Okay, and a vote.
I'll just support it as it is my ward.
Okay, it's for John. Are you
I would say.
okie dokie?
I'm not doing it because it's my ward, even though I don't agree with it.
Right, 57, date of next meeting is Thursday, 28th of August at 18:45. Any 58, and if anyone's got any items for the next agenda, get them in soon. And for anyone watching at home, we apologise for the sound difficulties tonight. And that's the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a fun meeting, very different to